Hi everyone, excuse the poorly lighting video. I just wanted to put out this little video blog, a day in the life of Ali M and the medical dramas that just have become part of my life. Just to give you all an idea. So I'm just going to show you this and I'm going to move the camera. Okay, so now you can see my legs. I have been having a really bad lymphedema flare-up. They've now got so bad that I cannot get my compression hosiery on because my foot is so swollen. I'm just going to show you that my foot, hold on a second. There's my very badly deformed foot, but it's very, very swollen, as you can see. And you can see it's now getting red. It's starting to feel warm. And if I don't do something, I'm heading for cellulitis. Now, here's why it annoys me. I'm going to come back so that you can see my face. Right, as part of my condition over the last 52 years, and obviously lymphedema has been the last 9 years, I've got used to planning ahead and I do it very well. I'm gonna give myself applause where I need to. Now, I knew that my lymphedema was bad over Christmas, and I knew that if it was getting that bad over Christmas during the cold weather, then I was going to be heading for disaster come the summer, because the summer is always when it flares up more. So, planning in advance, I reached out to my lymphedema nurse, who's brilliant, by the way, and said, look, I'm having problems already and I'm getting worried because there are times when I cannot get my compression hosiery on and I'm heading for disaster if we get to summer. So she quickly arranged an appointment. I had to wait a month to see her. Obviously, that's not her fault. That's just demand of her clinic. So I saw her in April and she said, right, I'm going to order you some wraps, which are basically like Velcro that you wrap around. So if your legs are too swollen to get your compression socks on, you basically put them on. They're like bandages with Velcro. Now, I'd had some before, but they were no good because there was too much of a gap between each of the Velcro straps. So what was happening is that they were squeezing part of the leg, but not the gap in between. So basically it was useless. It was just leaving me with this swollen bit in between, and I just came out of them with lines between my legs. And good compression needs to push it all up towards your lymph node, not having these big gaps in between. So she found these wraps that didn't have any gaps between, that you slide on, and they're really easy to put on, doesn't matter how swollen your legs are, and you Velcro wrap them on and it gives you compression, right? Brilliant. Put them on order. May comes, nothing's happened. She chases them up. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay in manufacture. She won't get them until June. June came and I contacted her and said, still haven't received them. Could you please chase them up? Sorry, there's a delay in manufacture. We can't do them now until July. So then she put on an urgent order for another set of wraps, which weren't quite as good, but they would at least do. And I'm still waiting for those. So now we've hit this emergency. I have been on to her, but she's gone off on holiday for the week. And my legs, I know my body. I know if I do not do something quickly, I'm going to end up in hospital on a drip. And I'm not being dramatic when I say this. Normally when I say things like that, it has a habit of coming true. I've got to do something quickly. So fortunately, I ordered some things from Amazon which are akin to something that I was taught a few years ago when I first was diagnosed with lymphedema. It's probably not ideal or what they would use in a clinic, but it's going to have to do. And I'm going to do them now, and I'm going to show you what So I'm basically going to bandage my legs with compression to get on top of this. So hopefully this infection, if it's starting to get infected, it nips it in the bud. Right, all of this I've paid for myself, even though it's a medical condition. And I'm saving the NHS money by not going into hospital at something like £1,000 a night to be in hospital on IV antibiotics. Right, I've purchased on Amazon some Clinifast, which is a cheaper version of what they call something else. But it's the same thing. It's basically strapping, basically. Just this doesn't provide you with any compression, but this is going on my leg first. Okay, and it's Blue Line that I use. Okay, I'll put it on, and my leg is so swollen that I basically miscalculated the length that I need, because it needs to go right over my toes. So I'm just going to cut a longer strip, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm going to use some MeFix. Again, at my own expense. I'm not complaining. I'm just showing people that I'm going to be spending a lot of money to save the NHS money here and to save me going into hospital. Right, MeFix, I couldn't find. I do have some of the thicker one, but I couldn't find it. Okay, so I've just taped that round. So basically, you want to cover the whole foot, because what you don't want is anything to start. See this crinkling around here? You don't want anything to start digging in, because my leg is now hugely more prone to infection. So if anything starts cutting in, I'm going to cause myself huge problems. Okay, so I've now taped that down, and now I'm going to go in with the next layer. Now, I ordered all this stuff as a backup in March. This was my rainy day if all else fails. And it's a good job, isn't it, that I had an all else fails backup. Now, I wanted to get this stuff, which I was shown before, to bandage my legs. But actually, it was double the width of this. But thankfully, I've got quite a few rolls of it. But actually, I really needed to get a wider roll. But this will have to do. This goes on next. So I'm now going to bandage up my leg with this stuff. And I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've put it on. I had to use 2.5 rolls. And I'm not even done with my other leg yet, which is also looking red. But it wasn't ideal, because this stuff is not wide enough to get around my heel properly. But as I said, I just have to do what I can do with what I have. So now what I would normally do is put on the next stretchy compression bandage, but I'm also going to put on this as the first lot of compression, because I cannot afford to be conservative at this point. And I've got a packet of these, which is a self-adhesive compression bandage, and that's going to go on next. And again, I'm going to roll it so it's 1.5 across, and be careful with the amount of compression that I'm pulling. I'll put that on and I'll be right back. Okay, now that's going to hold that other padding in place and give me a little bit of compression. I used up 1 roll of that, and by the way, this stuff from Amazon, it stinks, this bandage. I don't know where they got it from. But anyway, I took it a bit higher above the knee because my lymphedema is going further up. I just didn't want to be putting that padding underneath all the way up to the knee, because I was running out of the will with something that small. If only this had been the width of this bandage, I would have been a lot better off. But never mind, let's carry on. Now I got a cheaper version of what they use in the lymphedema clinic, because can't get what they use in the lymphedema clinic on Amazon. And it's this premium bandages with self-closure. They are compression bandages, and thankfully These ones are supposedly reusable. So I'm now going to put this on over the top, and again I'll be wrapping it so that it goes over half of what I've already done, all the way up. And by the way, I have to add this. It's one thing doing this, right, in normal circumstances, but when you have got severe lymphedema going on in your legs, it's really difficult to even lift your legs up, let alone bend them to actually reach around your foot. It's such a nightmare. I think I'm going to, given that it is now late afternoon, I am going to leave these on overnight. These are not as good as my other ones, but they'll do. They've got quite a bit of compression in them. So I'm going to put these on and I'll be right back. Okay, that's done. I had to put two bandages on because basically it stopped halfway up. But that one's done. I'm now going to do the whole thing all over again with the other leg, and I will be right back. Sorry, I forgot to say, more fun and games. Of course, this one's already got half a bandage on because I'm being treated for a foot ulcer that is flaring up. And that is definitely going to get a lot worse if I don't treat this lymphedema, because there'll be fluid sitting there and it will be helping to get that infected along with everything else. I'm just sounding completely flippant now, but I just thought this was a useful blog to people to see, and also just because it helps me to share my utter frustration. Anyway, I'll be right back. Let me get all these bandages on. Okay, that's me done. I'm going to turn the camera around so that you can see what I've done and explain, and then I'm going to come back and see you all. So what I've done is I had to take this one further up. I didn't have enough of this bandage, but I had some more of this because the lymphedema is going further up this leg. And it was starting to feel like it was digging in because it stopped at there. So now this is obviously, I haven't got the double layer here, but that doesn't really matter as much because from what I've had to learn about my condition, when you're pushing up fluid, trying to get it back up to the lymph node up here, the lymph gland, the compression needs to be more at the bottom to push it up the leg. So actually the fact that this isn't as tight as down there doesn't matter. What would be wrong is if I had greater compression up here and less down there, because then that would push it down and you want to be pushing it up. So I've now put this on sort of right up to my groin. This one, because this leg isn't as swollen, the bandage went up further, but I don't really have any lymphedema. This feels quite squidgy, which is what it should normally feel. Those of you that are upset about your squidgy thighs, be thankful, because if you had lymphedema, they would be hard as rock, and when you put your finger in, you can actually see a fingerprint. The reason I know I've got no lymphedema here is I can't write my name on my legs. On that leg right now, if I was to write Ali, you'd see Ali written in my legs. The other thing is this bandage was sticking in at the side, and again, I do not want to risk infection, so I just got some of that bandage and shoved it over the top. I am now going to put the dinner on and then put my legs up. I'm going to come back so that you can see me. Hi everyone. As I said, I'm sorry if this doesn't interest you and it's not about beauty, but I just wanted to put out this blog today because, or vlog, or whatever you want to call it. You can see I look very unglamorous. I look like I've got pigmentation all over my face, and I don't really care, and my pain patch is showing. and I'm not glamorous. But I'm fed up. I'm fed up. I'm fed up because all my life I've had to take responsibility for my health, and in some respects that's empowering, and in other respects it just makes me feel very, very alone. And I know that when it all hits the fan, the only person that I can rely on to keep me well is me. I know some people watching this will say, why don't you go to A&E? And I may have to do that yet. But the reason I don't want to go to A&E right now is because I will spend 45 minutes explaining my history while everyone looks at my legs and decides what to do. And I don't need that experience right now, because basically I need to be around people that know, that just know. I know my body. I've been with it for 52 years, and a lot of these doctors straight out of medical school, they may know a bit more about the lymphatic system because they've studied it at university and become doctors. But they don't know about my lymphatic system, and they don't have the instinct that I have about my own body. And my own body right now is telling me that things are going to go wrong very quickly. And I really don't need people scratching their heads and telling me to come back tomorrow, or maybe go and see a GP, or maybe they'd admit me, I don't know. But I just can't be doing with that, because that's just going to make me feel even more alone. So I'm going to try this last ditch attempt, and I'm going to keep them on tonight, overnight. You're not really supposed to do that, but as I say, I haven't been in them since 6 o'clock this morning, so see what they look like in the morning. And that's it. A day in the life of Ali M. Because I share all the happy, smiling, giggly, let's put our makeup on routine, I just wanted people to see what living with a disability is like. But my next video, which I've prepared and I haven't uploaded yet onto YouTube, is my my shopping splurge at Zara. So that's coming up next. All right, take care everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.